Hi, Namaskar.
Namaste, Anupam ji.
Namaskar, Namaskar, Sudhesh. How are you?
Yeah. Yes. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Oh,
I think we're just
okay.
1 minute away from our scheduled time.
Yes, exactly. So you're ready?
So we are all ready.
Yes,
Yeah, we are all set to go.
yeah.
So, uh,
So I'd like to introduce you to my audience. And
yeah,
this is Anupam Srivastava. And he has written a wonderful book. This book, Hinduism, The Science of Self-Realization. And Anupam, when I went through this book,
yeah,
what I understood, maybe it's not the proper understanding about your book. So I have some questions to ask you so that you can
yeah, please.
even answer the questions. You have my questions, maybe it is my audience question also.
Okay.
So I have prepared a few questions here, like about 7 or 8 questions.
Yeah, sure.
Hope we can discuss about these questions, one or two in the beginning.
Yeah,
And about my book also, you can ask one or two
yeah,
more
sure. Definitely.
questions so that the audience, we can keep them
Engage.
focused on 2 books at a time, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. I think that would be a
Yeah,
nice ways to go forward.
yeah, yeah. Initially, when I just went through this book,
Yeah,
I realized there are some things which I could not understand properly.
okay.
Maybe the author's perspective in which he writes
Yeah,
is different from the person who is reading.
reading it. Yeah,
So
yeah, that's true.
in that perspective, I just wanted to ask you a basic question initially. Can you talk a little about your book and give an overview of your book, Hinduism, the Science of Self-Realization?
Yeah,
And the most important thing is, even sometimes I feel what inspired me to write a book.
right. Okay.
Likewise, what inspired you to write this particular book,
This particular.
Hinduism?
Yeah, I think thank you for asking. I think it's very pertinent question because everybody has a journey,
Yeah,
and depending on your skills, ability, and talent, some people become artists and they do the artistic work.
exactly.
I discovered author in me in 2016. Before that, I was could not even write 2 pages of anything.
Mm.
So anyway, so I had a journey myself. I mean, when I was growing up in my young age, up to the age of 14, I was very religious, quote unquote, whatever it means,
Yeah,
ritualistic, I should say, performing pujas, fasting, celebrating important days in the calendar because that was the environment of the family, within the family.
yeah.
So actually, I was had a situation where my mother was suffering with some terminal disease.
Mm.
So I was made to believe that if I did what I did in the name of religion, I would be able to ask God to save her life. And obviously,
Yeah.
you know, when it didn't happen, it was a shock to my system.
Okay.
And I was like, very furious actually. As a 14-year-old boy, you can understand
All.
you
Yes,
don't have
yes.
that intellect at that time, so you react
Mm.
emotionally. So which I did for the next 7, 8, 10 years. That anger persisted in me somehow. I felt deceived. I was lied to. I was fooled. So that kind of a
Yeah.
sense. So and then by the grace of God, that anger turned into inquisitiveness when I was in my early 20s, and that's where I think I started to explore the theme. If that was not true, what I was told, then what it is. That kind of in line of that. So I think in
Yeah.
my own way, I started exploring, and so when you start exploring anything, things started to appear in front of you. So I started getting first book I got was Hinduism by Swami Shivananda Saraswati of Vedic Life Society. So when I was reading it, it was very logical. So I think that set the ground for me because in my own, I'm a quite logical person, being a student of science at the school. So so basically, the perspective I've taken in this book is my own inquiries. So if you are
Ah.
asking, so for example, bringing back to now,
Mm.
so a lot of ritualistic practices that we witness being practiced within our own families and within the society. And so in 2016, I had the opportunity to meet thousands of school children in India. And I was asking a very simple question. I found that their knowledge of their own religion is very shallow. They have
Yes,
no clue.
exactly. When they're
They have no clue. They
yeah.
just basically do things because that is how it has been told. For example, I'll tell you, when I pose the question to a lot of young people, why do you celebrate Diwali and what is the relevance of Diwali in your life? You know, so standard answers was, two answers. Lord Ram came back, victory of good over evil. So I said, fine, that's great. So I said, anything else that you know about it? So then, there's a silence, and and so far, I mean, that is not just the plight of young people, as the plight of everybody.
Yeah.
I have not come across anybody who can give me a logical explanation or scientific explanation as it is rooted into our scriptures,
Yes.
Vedas, Upanishad, Gita, and what have you. So that's where I think I started to think, and I realized when I did my own investigation and my own study. I think since 2011, I'm heavily exploring the subject matter. And I realized that it is such a powerful science to make our life so happy and successful that we are chasing after anyway in our
Yeah.
materialistic life. So I think that dimension of this literature really caught my attention.
Mm.
So I started to then put my pen to the paper. And obviously, as I told you, I have never written anything before apart from my professional reports
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
social worker that I have to do, but never written it. But I think it's a blessing that that flows through you. And when you put your pen down, so pen started to flow, and I think before I knew, 200-300 pages were completed. So
Mm.
basically, what I'm saying is I'm trying to connect or try to take out the logical and scientific essence out of the ritualistic practices.
Okay.
So the disclaimer I want to say, because I think I may come across
Mm.
as if I am challenging or confronting Hinduism. Actually, I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
So Hinduism to challenge or its practices therein, I am not capable. I am not competent enough to even comment on it.
Mm.
What I'm challenging is my understanding of the scriptures and then my practice based on my understanding.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
That's
that is
what.
what I'm challenging.
Mm.
I'm not challenging the scriptures or the. It's a very, very logical, very scientific text or thought process, and that is what needs to be understood by young people. In my view, I particularly, I think, because I've worked with young people all my life as a social worker, so I got a particular compassion, if you want to
Yeah.
call it compassion.
Compassion.
What I think about is because they have a life to start. And when you
Mm.
see a lot of young people in India frantically, stressful, under tremendous pressure to perform in academics, and then they have challenges for careers, and they're just becoming adopting any criminal means to get to money.
Exactly.
And
That's the only
so they're
point.
chasing after
Yeah. Yeah.
something
Mm.
that should chase them
Mm.
if they educate themselves properly and understand themselves. So the whole idea of spirituality is a science of self.
Self. Yes.
So because our understanding comes from this ritualistic and the Puranic notions of gods and goddesses and their tales and their stories, so we have this kind of a gobbledygook idea
Mm.
of
Mm.
spirituality, and we have separated spirituality from my sansaric life or materialistic life. While these should be or must be as intended by our rishis, it's a complementary.
Yes. Exactly.
It is not this or that. If you want to have a decent, happy, and successful life, it must be complementing each other. So
Compliment.
that was the thought processes that made me to start writing. So I thought I've answered your question.
Yes.
And that's what this book is actually delving into and talking about. So
Yeah.
I don't claim this book to be a some kind of a textbook for Hinduism, but it
Exactly.
just gives you, the essence of various practices, those kind of things.
Yes.
Thank you. Back to
I
you.
had a second question also wherein you have already answered, because I had a question like you, like
Yeah,
asking you, like it comes across that you are primarily addressing young people in your book.
yeah.
This is my point. How you are addressing the younger generation, as you told that
I'm
they are into
yeah,
like any kind of and means they can just think of making money. and how this book, Hinduism, the Science of Self Realization, is going to give as a priority of education and career.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me answer your question. I think I will try to stay away from theoretical rhetoric because it's of no use. So I'll just give you real life experience of applying the knowledge contained within our scriptures. So I'll just give you a real life example. In 2018 December, I was approached by a young girl.
Hmm.
She was in her fifth class,
Fifth
and since
class.
she came into fifth class, her grades were dropping. So she was very, very stressed and concerned. So were her family, and she could not understand suddenly what happened to her. Because in a fourth class final exam, she had 79, 80%. And
Okay.
since she came into fifth grade, she could not go past
Oh,
55,
started decreasing.
60.
Huh.
It started to decrease throughout the
Huh.
year.
Hmm.
All her unit exams, she was failing. Not failing, failing from her perspective.
But not getting that much what she was
Not
studying.
getting, so she was not push. She was not able to cross 60. So that was the presenting problem that she came to me with. So I ended up working 2 months with her, use some nuggets out of, or gems, I should say, of the wisdom contained. And so I had to come back to UK. So I came back to UK at the end of February. So she then set her exams. And in April, when I went back and met that girl was excited. So I said,
Okay.
"What happened to you?" She said, "I got 97%."
Wonderful.
I said, "Lovely."
What is that key you have given to that girl? What is the
See,
key?
see, if you obviously it's a live session and we have a time constraint, so obviously can't go into detail. See, most students fail in exam not because they don't know the subject. They
It's maybe because fear.
fail because they cannot keep their mind calm.
Yeah.
Nobody teaches them how to do it. Those who can manage and maintain calmness of their mind at the time of writing exam, they perform. So I'm just giving you a basic fundamental problem, and it's not
Okay.
rocket science.
Mm.
It's not something I'm telling you for the first time. It is very well established. A calm and controlled mind is the most efficient tool that is available to us. But
Ah,
because we don't do it, so this girl not only performed that exam, I just had a conversation with her last week after a few years. I never met her since 19.
mm.
And then I met her in 2022 in a wedding function. So she then told me, so she was still excited. I said, "You're still excited?" Yes, every year I'm doing 90 plus, 90 plus, 90 plus systematically. And she said, "Now I don't feel the pressure of continue to study through the exams." So I said, 4 or 5 days before the exam, I stop studying.
Ah,
I said, "I don't. I just go sit the exam, write it, and come back." And she's performing that sort of thing. So she's still doing exactly what other students do, but she is not struggling or being stressed or pressurized or what have you. She's calm and collected. So she learned that little skill how to do it, and she's doing it. And now she has become part of a coaching group that I have with young people run here from UK.
okay.
But I'm doing it for kids in India, school students, and she is being very role model for a lot of the. So I think I've answered my question.
Yes, yes.
So fundamentally, the ultimate sadhana that is recommended within our scripture is the training of our mind.
Yeah, that's all.
Mind training. So I think I will mention two words that you can talk about. We can talk about it later. So lot of our ritualistic practice are Bahiranga sadhanas. And then
Bahiranga.
your
Yes.
subject matter is part of that realm. And these Bahirang sadhanas, which include all the puja part, Bharat, Kirtan, Satsang, and all those sort of things that we do, are part of that, part of that block of activities. These activities then eventually help you to lead to do Antaranga sadhana, which include dharana, dhyan, and samadhi, which means
Yes.
basically, in simple language, you are gaining control over your mind and your senses, which gives you that control. And with that control, any achievements, good, big, or small, is effortlessly can be achieved.
Yes.
So it's a very simple thing. It's not rocket science, really. It
Yes.
may
Yeah.
seem like that, but it's not. So that's the motivation for me to put down those things in black and white, and put into a book so
Book.
that people can benefit reading it and gain confidence, that they can. So other, major negative impact that we have young people is by the education system. Anybody who is not getting 95 or whatever, they assume themselves to be incompetent and not intelligent.
Yeah.
They assume it. And that's how, because everybody sees them that way. If you're not performing, and parents are under pressure.
Yes.
If they don't get that sort of thing, parents are depressed and they feel low. They may not say anything to young people, but young people is getting the message all around. The school is not, teachers are talking to them in a funny way. So they assume that they are not intelligent, they are not capable, and hence they end up living a mediocre life because they have assumed themselves inferior.
Yes.
And that
Low.
is the mindset that has to be broken, in my view.
Yes. Yes.
And so, a lot of young people who are everybody is intelligent, but they are believing themselves to be not intelligent,
Not. Yes.
which is, I think, is a much bigger crime that is being committed in our society. So these are the kind of themes I'm addressing in my book.
Wonderful.
So, Sudeshji,
Yes.
so thank you. I think it's my turn to now ask questions to you.
Okay. Yeah. Please.
So that obviously, as we agreed, so we will rotate our questions. So I think I have, you know, so actually I could not get access to your book delivered to me. I'm still waiting for the delivery. Can you pick up your book on the screen for the audience to see?
Yes.
So,
Please.
so dear fellows, this is a brilliant book. Just keep it little. This is the book, amazing book, and yes, this is the one. Thank you, Sudesh.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very brilliant book. I think I'm not trying to brag about myself, but I think both our books, this book, Sudesh's book, Therapeutic Approaches to Yoga, and my book, Hinduism. So they are slightly away
Similar.
from the standard league. So,
Yeah.
so though you are talking about yoga, but you're talking about basically therapeutic approach
Therapeutic. Yes.
with which yoga can be used and applied in our day to life for making our life healthier, isn't it? That's the perspective.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that image of the book. So obviously the same question I will ask you, Sudesh. What
Yes.
inspired you to uh, write this book? And maybe if you can just give audience a little overview what this book contains, so they will know. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Initially, I would say that I treated myself when I was having like I suffering from hyperacidity, and later on, things changed, and I started practicing because one of my friend named Dayananda, he told me, "Why don't you practice yoga?" This is I'm talking about 42 years back. Uh, it was not so popular as it is now. So I just started with practicing myself. Then later on, I went to many teachers, and within 6 months or so, I could see that there is a lot of change in my problem, acidic problem. So I could overcome that one. And later on, it is like I started practicing because I could sense something is change going to happen in the system itself, not the outer body, but there is something happening inside. So I could feel it. Then over a period of time, it is like my practice went on, and I just thought of giving classes to others also. When I started giving classes, so it's almost like 33 years now. I've been giving classes. I'm 63-year-old now. So there I could see that people started telling me that my problem, this problem, there was some back issues, neck issues, nasal allergies, like that. People also started telling me that coming to your class has changed me, my problems. What are the problems? If I ask, somebody says low back pain, somebody says the neck pain or shoulder pain or diabetes, like that. This interested me a lot. I started giving more and more interest to this kind of yoga. Initially I was hesitant to think about what because I was not a student from science,
Yeah.
and if you have to just think about the therapeutic approach, it was not even therapy I was understanding with it. But over a period of time, I could see that there are some people. with some other different ailments. They could come and tell me that now I don't take medicine at all. This put me in a interest to think about beyond the regular practice of
Yeah.
yoga. Nowadays, almost all of them, the teachers, I can say that it is 95 out of 100 teachers think about only the asana practice, only the
Yeah.
asana practice,
That's right.
and it is in general they practice.
Yeah.
See, it's a traditional way wherein we practice. We'll have some set of asanas that we practice, and that is going to help you out in a different way. But
Yeah.
again, it is not the solution when a person is having an ailment, right? You have to address it properly. There are some medicines for some diseases. You cannot randomly pick up the medicines from the medical stores and start consuming it, isn't it? Likewise, when it is has got this specific medicine to be administered to the specific ailment, this book is also speaks about the same thing. They have
Okay.
covered around 7 ailments here
Hmm.
using wonderful pictures. Main pose is there to the left hand side, and the modified pose. Modified pose, why actually it has come in the book is some people will have some limitations to move their body, right? So it's we need to ask them to use the other method. What is the other method? It is the modified poses using props. We call it as props, bolsters maybe, or the backbenders and belts, blocks. These are the kind of things which BK Sanger termed as props. And the interesting part in this book is we have given a small description about the ailment. Say, for
Okay.
example, if it is diabetes, diabetes in the sense it affects the pancreas itself, right? People has to understand. We have gone through many journals. We have studied and we have been practicing here. And people come with diabetes, these kind of ailments. We study the ailment first and what it says. We have
Yeah.
brought into a concised form so that even a layman can understand what is the ailment is all about. That is the
That's
beauty
right.
of this book. And the causes we have already mentioned in it, causes, symptoms, and even we have given the description of how it can be diagnosed. The simple way of diagnosis we have given. We have given the case study also. What is the case study we have interestingly done it
Yeah.
is those people who have come to our yoga center with that particular ailment, we have seen them how we have given the classes and how they have come out of their problem. That is a
Right.
case study, one case study in each ailment under the ailment we have given. And
Right.
yogic interventions also we have given 9 poses, main poses, and 9 modified poses. We have
Right.
even mentioned about the allopathy treatment. We have mentioned about Ayurvedic treatment, and even these asanas is been validated by or been guided by one of the physiotherapists named Banu, Dr. Banu, who is very near to our place here.
Right.
The muscle action and the main muscle actions and all, it has been validated in the book. So,
Right.
and what are the hormones going to get affected in this particular disease, under this particular disease? We have mentioned, and we have worked out with one of our students named Shraddha, who is a nutritionist. We have given
Right.
the food to consume and food to avoid. This is the beauty
Right.
of it. The
Yeah.
main thing we have done all these in this book.
Right.
But
Very
who is going to
good.
validate? I have seen many books because I have
Right.
traveled more than 20 countries, and I have never come across with a book in such a way that we have written. That is the idea
Ah,
I got. See,
that's right.
we have been like in this book, we have given every ailment under that ailment, particular ailment to the particular doctor,
Hmm.
allopathy doctor to read and validate it.
Very good.
Their
I think that
views,
makes it authentic. People need to have that confidence because there's an existing, what you call it, uh, uh, not a lot of confidence is Indic sciences,
uh,
yogas and a whole lot of other Ayurveda and what have you. So people have this, I think it's they lack confidence in these strategies for whatever reasons, because I think we have been so secular
Yes.
in last 70, 75 years. So this secularism has killed a lot of our
Yes.
sciences.
Mm.
So I think from there, my next question is to
Yeah.
you, Sudesh, is, you know, you have that book, Therapeutic Approaches. How do you think, in this context that I just gave you, that people are so lack belief and faith in our indigenous sciences? So how does it benefit today's society?
No, I told you, no, already I have told
Yeah,
you like one main thing.
yeah,
People are practicing yoga, no doubt.
yeah,
When it comes to a particular disease, say, for example, I have
yeah.
given classes to Parkinson disease, sleep apnea, arrhythmia. These are all the very new
Very
things, which
common.
new ailments
Yeah,
which I have seen. Ataxia, Bell's palsy, cerebral palsy, transverse myelitis. To name all these, cervical issues, lumbar issues, you cannot just go on and on practicing the
yeah,
traditional way how the other yoga institute practices. It
mm,
is totally a different approach. To bring the confidence in people, we started giving classes individually. This is
right.
the important point
Mm,
about this book.
okay.
See, yoga is not a standardized practice. It is one on one. But when
Mm,
you have a group of people coming to the class, you have to notice that how people are doing. That one thing, physical aspect itself is not enough. How
yeah,
it is working inside is what we are looking at. And I see people getting out of these problems, ataxia, Parkinson's disease, arrhythmia, sleep apnea. These are all the chronic diseases which nowadays people are facing with, maybe
yeah,
due to stress or their lifestyle. We cannot just say why it has come to them. Thyroid, for
yeah,
example,
yeah,
PCOD, for example, all these individually, when we started giving classes, people started realizing that this is the method in which I have to practice and get it of the problem.
right.
When they took it to their doctor and said that I'm practicing yoga under Mr. Sudesh, and
Yeah,
those doctors are really happy to send their another patient to me, so that this is how the confidence build up in therapeutic approach,
yeah,
even with the doctors as well as the patients. Patients
mm,
are my students. The patients will go and give the uh, whatever they have seen, like the remedy for the, maybe the remedy for not using the medicine and all. When they go into the doctor and say they're not, the doctor is shocked, and maybe they're shocked or they're happy. Now I'm getting people through the doctors also,
oh,
and
that's
through
amazing. Yeah,
word of mouth, I'm getting
yeah,
people, and it's like continuously we are practicing. And I want to put a word here for all the yoga teachers to practice therapeutic approach also, so that you cannot just go on telling people practice
just
yoga
do
and all the
asanas.
problems can go away.
Yeah,
Yeah. With this,
very
I
good.
hope
So yes,
I
you.
might have
So
answered
you
your
did. I
question.
think it is very important for audience to know that yoga is not just physical exercise
No, no, no.
to keep your body and muscle, but it is the internal curement.
Yes,
Uh,
we have even,
basically focusing on the health side of yoga,
yeah.
which is very
and
important. So
and
anyway, it's your.
it's not only the asanas which we have covered here. We have covered pranayama also, which is an important aspect, as you
That's right.
mentioned. I had forgotten it.
Yeah,
Yes, we have mentioned about it also. So it's a concise manner in which we are giving the audience a capsule like thing, wherein you can understand. Yes, not by practicing only the traditional method, we have to think about specific ailment and specific teacher,
yeah.
when we
Okay.
can get the relief for the problems.
Okay.
Oh, now I can
Now
go
it's your
my
turn.
third question to
Yeah,
you.
it's your next two questions to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No, I think I'm liking this style of this Insta Live.
yeah,
So people are just getting their interest going.
yeah. See, look in this book, page number 109, the path to
Yeah,
spirituality. Okay,
yeah,
there I have made a note. It's dispelling a few myths regarding religion and spirituality.
yeah.
Okay, can you just please talk about a couple of these myths for
Yes,
the benefit of our audiences?
yeah, definitely. Because I
Sometimes,
think
it has come
these
up
are
in my mind.
these are not the myths which I have cooked up in my mind.
Okay, Okay.
Because obviously, when I was going across and talking to people, when I talk to people, whether they're young people, adults, grown ups, and what have you, and so you come across some of these thoughts people share with you. So when you say, have you read Gita? Then they laugh at you. I say, are you retired? Have you gone old? I say, why? These things are for retirement. I say, really? So it shows you the kind of thought process are circulating around and making people's thought processes, how they take and view spirituality.
Mm.
So spirituality is not only separated from your life, day-to-day life, it has been put to do something about this religion, spirituality, when you have nothing better to do in life.
Mm, mm, mm.
So
Yes.
I have used an analogy just to give thought process because otherwise I like giving analogies. I said to people, I said, when you buy a new brand television, latest model, the new technology it has. So I said, what do you do? I said, how do you treat a new television when you open the box
Box.
and
Yeah.
you install it, everything, then there comes a book with it. So when do you read this book?
Mm.
He said, do you read this book when you have out of your ignorance and not knowing how to manage the equipment and you damage it, burnt, then you go and read the book or you read the book first before you start using it.
Yeah.
So 90% people will agree with the fact that because it's an expensive equipment, for it to work efficiently or for me to know the various facilities, functions, and what benefits I can gain out of this equipment, I must read manuals so that I become equipped
Equipped.
with the knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I said to them, I said, now, so this equipment called television, if it damaged, then you will obviously feel sad about it, but eventually you can go and replace one with another one, isn't it? So
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
said, when are you going to read the manual of this equipment given to us, which is one time delivery? Once damaged, there is nothing you can do.
Mm.
So, when should you be reading the manual of this life? How to use your life, how to use your internal
This
systems called
systems. Yeah.
antakarant,
Mm.
the equipment given to you like your body. So your body, there's a yogic exercises, there's a whole lot of other science which is helping you to keep your body healthy. Then you have got other two equipment called mind and intellect.
Yes. My.
So do you have any idea about how mind and intellect work and make your life to be what it
Uh,
is? So when are you going to read the manual? When you are waiting to be thrown into a ditch or taken to a crematorium to be cremated. So that's
yes.
when, so all your systems are gone. You can't hear properly. You can't see things. You can't retain anything. Your memory is gone. You're suffering with
Memory is gone.
a whole lot of ailments. So if you open the Gita at that time, what are you going to gain out of it?
Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing.
It's a blank.
And
Yes.
then even if
Because.
you gain, let's say you become knowledgeable and you have understood each and every verse of Gita, what use is Gita when you're ready to die at that time? So idea, this myth is, and this is the kind of understanding we have been given as a society, that spirituality, religion, number one is a additional extra activity. You can do it if you can afford, and it has nothing to do with your day-to-day life. So some of these myths are basically emerging out of it.
Mm.
So people believe that spirituality, reading Gita or reading scriptures or whatever, this is an activity towards the end of life, not for now. But intellectual idea or thinking tells you that you want to make efficient use of your life given to you, you
Mm.
must know and understand how it works.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is what scriptures are. So
Mm.
the entire scripture, whether it's Ved, Upanishad, Gita, Brahma Sutra, Vivek Chudamani, and whole lot of gamut of it, it is nothing but it's trying to answer one simple question. And that simple question is, who am I?
I. Even
That is,
yoga says the same.
so I
Yes.
am the subject matter of the Vedic knowledge.
Mm.
And Vedic knowledge, through all the entire gamut of literature that it has, is trying to help me understand who I really am.
Really. Yeah.
So idea of me from the literature is that once you know how you are and how your system works, then you can make it work. and live a happy, content, and satisfied life. And other myth is that if you are into this path of spirituality or religion, then you have to become ascetic and sadhu baba, and you have to go into jungle. I say really, and it will stop you earning and have life. I say, well, these are all myths, man. The guy who is teaching us Gita, who was he? He was the king,
He is a king.
Lord Krishna.
Yes.
He had all the luxuries of life.
Yes. But
Okay, big mention, all the chariots and all the cows and horses and every luxury that one king could have. So if he was coaching or teaching Arjun about spirituality or self-realization, so don't you think it would be hypocritical of him if he has to say, not that he said, if he has to say that I enjoyed life of luxury, but
yes.
you should go to jungle.
Jungle. No, it cannot be.
It's a myth.
Yes.
No, idea of spirituality is not to leave your family and social life. Idea of spirituality, what people don't understand, is giving up the attachment to
Exactly.
attachment with the materialistic life. You
Yes.
you 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 can earn as much as you want. You can become billionaire, but so long as you are careful and you're not attached to it, so when it is lost, you're not suffering.
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea is to give up your attachment. That is called sannyas. So some
Sannyas.
of these concepts, like sannyas people think you'll have to shave your head
Even
and wear orange.
Brahmacharya comes in our
Uh, and
spiritual
brahmacharya means
aspect also. Yeah.
exactly the same thing. And you
Yes,
have to
same
go
thing.
into a secular life and go
Yeah.
into jungle or some kind of a gufa or the cave and live like deny yourself all the luxuries of it. So no, nothing denying. Brahmacharya simply means a life of self-control, that you do not live a life of subjugation
Subjugation. Yeah.
of your own senses and your own mind. So this subjugation that we are suffering, to get you relieved out of this subjugation and what you call it, gulami in India, they call it
Gulami.
in
Yes.
Urdu. We are
Mm-hmm.
living a life of a slave of our own senses and our own mind. So brahmacharya is a technology or technique given or provided by the scriptures so that you can develop that self-control upon your own temptation of your senses and gain control of your mind.
Right.
So that life of self-control is called brahmacharya. So the
Awesome. Yeah.
notion that has been peddled, so this is the kind of myths and themes that are included into the book. So that idea is to develop that clarity and dispel that confusion that surrounds a
Yes.
lot of ideas and concepts, and people can't answer questions.
Mm.
When somebody asks, when I said, well, what makes you Hindu?
What
Why do you claim you're? Why? How do you claim you're a Hindu?
Hindu?
What makes you a Hindu?
Yeah.
No answer.
No. People would say my parents are Hindu. That is why I'm Hindu. That's
People
what been told to them.
have There are a lot
Yes.
of people
People
who are
understand that.
practicing these things,
Mm.
but unfortunately, everybody has devised their own understanding and their own explanations for doing what they do.
Mm.
And it is quite identical in our materialistic lives. We call it samsaric life. We never do anything which is illogical and unscientific. Even I say, for example, if I ask you, Sudesh, can you give me 1,000 rupees? You may have 10,000 questions in your mind.
Whether he gives me or not, whether I should give him or not.
Why he's
Right?
asking me? Why
Why
me
he's asking?
only?
Yes.
Should I
Hundreds of
give or
questions,
not?
thousands of
Blah, blah,
questions.
blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. So to reach a very simple decision, whether to part with this money with this guy
Yes
or
or no?
not, you would have 10,000 questions in your mind. And when you are satisfied with all your inquiry, then you will put your hand in your pocket.
Yes.
But when somebody says to me, in order to be religious, you have to do this puja. I don't mind doing it. But tell me, what is it? Why it is? Why I have to do it? What do I gain out of it? These are all simple questions. Or sad part is the entire literature of Sanatan Vedic literature is a product of somebody asking the question.
Question. Yes.
Somebody, whether it's a student or whether it is Arjun or whosoever, asking the questions, and the teacher is, giving them volumes and volumes of knowledge, and they have been enshrined into our Upanishads and various literature. Even the Gita is a conversation. It's a conversation between two people where the Arjun is asking his
Arjun
doubts.
and Krishna.
It's a dialogue. So because this guy is so confounded and it became delirious, and he totally was confused as to why should he fight. So this is a kind of a Gita is a product which is out of questioning. An inquisitive mind is asking the question, and that questioning we have unfortunately stopped answering. If a young person would have to ask their parents that I would love to do what you're asking me to do, but please explain. And because
Right, Ashwin.
parents themselves are so bereft of any knowledge, because they are doing it not because they want to do it,
Understood it.
they do it because
They
their
might not
parents
have
are doing it,
understood it because it has been passed down,
passed on from generation to
generation to
generation to
generation.
generation, and it has become a tradition or a culture or a family. So because a religious environment, so you do these are religious things, but you don't understand anything, unfortunately. So I don't know whether I've answered your
No,
question,
no, you
but I
have
think
already
these are some of the myths. Yeah.
answered my fourth question also. What is the core
All
message of
right.
the book trying to give? You
See,
have already given
yeah,
the
I think I just say two, three specific things. The core message to young people, particularly, is that they should embrace religion in its real essence.
real essence. Yeah.
If you don't find answers from your immediate environment, don't give up. There are
Yes.
answers.
There are answers which you have to
Understand
find.
these technologies provided. I'll give you a simple example. Like, fasting is a very common religious practice in all households. Everybody fasts. Okay. Now, if you look at it, has become a joke, this fasting business. The idea of fasting is that you are taken a vow that on this particular day I will not eat.
Eat. Yeah.
Okay. And idea is that I must learn to curb my temptations of produced by my senses. So I need to develop self-control on my senses. That is the objective,
Core.
original
Objective. Yeah.
objective. Okay. Now what is happening is when you have a fasting day, 2 days before the fasting day, there is a planning and preparation going on.
Yeah.
And you end up eating 3, 4 times more food on the day of fasting than you would eat on a normal day. I will eat this in the breakfast, and I will eat this, and I will have that kind of a thing, and that kind of a chart, and this kind of a aloo thing, and blah blah blah. Only thing you're not consuming is a great, what you call it, wheat and rice. The grain you're not eating, but apart from that, you have consumed everything. So you have defeated the entire purpose of fasting. Fasting as a technology, as a tool, is provided or recommended so that slowly, gradually, you can start developing control over your senses
Yes.
and you are not ruled by the temptations produced by it. If you look at what is happening in the society outside, all these kind of negative and criminal behaviors, this is nothing but a byproduct of no control
Yes.
of our own. So these are some key messages, and people should pick up and they should start asking questions and they should use it. They use it for their own materialistic purposes and goals. Succeeding in exams, finding a career, succeeding there as well, and making a lot of money. All these things are possible if you start using spiritual technology
Technology.
and make your life a healthy and prosperous life.
Yes.
So there is no restrictions placed on it. So these are some of the key messages. So
Wonderful.
now it is my turn.
Yeah.
Is it okay? So my question to you is next question is that I think you've already answered this question. What does yoga play the treating ailments as described in your book in therapeutic to yoga in your book therapeutic approaches to yoga, the role of yoga in treating ailments? I think you have already answered it.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So I'll move on to the next questions because I think
Wonderful. Yeah. 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 You said the traditional yoga practice versus the therapeutic approach. Is
yeah,
it your question? Okay. Okay. Traditional yoga practice.
yeah,
See, traditional yoga practice, yes, it can be highly beneficial.
yeah,
I am sure about it. No doubt about it. But therapeutic approach, It's really a growing field that uses evidence-based research.
Right.
If you go through by Dr. Krishna Raman's book, which I give to my students when they do the teachers training course, it's called as FAQ, frequently asked questions. He is a direct disciple of BK Sanger, wherein there are more than 500 questions have been answered by him. So that is how it has to be looked into. It's going to definitely help in the specific health conditions of the person. So, traditional yoga practice and the therapeutic approach has got two different sides of the coin. One is to maintain the health or to see that somehow it balances the body, but in the therapeutic approach, it addresses directly to that issue. So that is the
Right.
difference between a therapeutic and traditional approach. You can go
Right.
through your next because I'm very crisp because ours
Yeah,
is
that's fine. So I
total
think I will add
Bahiranga
the next
sadhana.
question. Sorry,
Yeah.
I will add the next one. I think in the next question that I was interested to know or for you to comment on it.
Uh,
That can therapeutic approach that you have discussed
mm,
in your book. So my question is, can yoga replace allopathy or Ayurvedic or other treatment modalities that are
yeah.
available? So what is your view on it? Can it replace?
Yeah. See, is it the way like is it a replacement for
Yeah.
the traditional medicine you are asking for?
So question is, can yoga serve as a complete replacement for
Yeah,
allopathy or Ayurvedic in
yes.
treating ailments?
That's okay. I cannot definitely say that it's not. It's not definitely say that it's not a replacement for traditional medicine. See, sometimes even the doctors when I work with the doctors, when I start my writing, I go and meet a lot of doctors to discuss. Later on, I put in my book. So some of the things which it has to be taken care by a surgery, we can only see that it can be best can be possible. We can call it as a complement to therapy,
Compliment.
not a replacement for traditional medicine, for sure. But some kind of things. Say, for example, diabetes, for example, no need to think about more and more working with the medicines itself. They can start doing some asanas, think about bringing down their stress level, and that is how we teach pranayama, dhyana, and all. These
Yeah.
as a capsule when it comes and they start practicing, we can see a lot of difference. And to some extent, I have seen in many patients, the dependency on the medicine is totally stopped. No, they are not using it. But when there should be an intervention as a surgery, we can only see that we can develop them to get into the surgery without any hesitation. Because the mind becomes very strong. So definitely not. I cannot just say that. I don't
Sure.
say that it is a
Okay.
replacement for any traditional medicine. Sure.
Okay. So obviously the next question that I have for you, that yoga also possesses a spiritual aspect.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
and so how is this aspect interpreted in your book?
see, if one has to have a traditional way of approach in all sort of activities, we call it as non-violence. Say,
Right.
it's non-violence. So when it comes to spirituality aspect, one has to have a strong body, isn't it? The person is thinking about having a spiritual life. The person needs to have a strong body to attain that level, right?
Yeah,
So when a person is
that's true.
having low back pain or a slip disc like that, their views are very high to become very spiritual. This therapeutic approach, when we we start administering them some asanas and all, when the problems are gotten over, the body becomes sturdy, the body becomes very strong. You
Hmm.
have to think about the Bahiranga sadhana first.
Right.
Okay, when the body is taken care of from the outer part, that is the
Yeah.
Bahiranga sadhana, following Yama, Niyama, Asana, and Pranayama. Pratyahara Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi, we call it as the Antaranga
Antaragata.
sadhana.
Yeah.
When a person is there with a proper health, in a proper body,
Yeah.
proper body in the sense the healthy body,
Yeah.
then this is the time wherein a person can think of going into
Right.
himself or herself, getting
All right.
into oneness.
Right.
So this Bahiranga sadhana helps them to get into the Antaranga sadhana in the later part of their
So
career. That
basically,
is,
it's connected. So there's a
it is
continuum.
connected. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, all put together is one is Bahiranga sadhana and Antaranga sadhana. Once a person gets into the aspect of Bahiranga sadhana, it's easy for the next things are there. The
Yeah.
teachers can definitely take into that level wherein they can get into that spirituality level also.
Okay.
This
Thank you.
book
Yeah.
speaks about mainly on the body ailments. So
Okay.
when the ailments are
Great.
gotten over, naturally a person can get start moving to the
Yeah.
next direction. So now it's my turn to
Thank you.
really
Yes,
ask a
quite.
question.
Thank you. Thank you for answering those questions.
Yeah, yeah. So there, according to your book, Hinduism, the
Yeah.
science of self-realization, contrary to the established notion, is simple and easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you shed some light on this intriguing idea?
Yeah. A
It
lot
is
of
not
people
eager.
probably will
It should not
disagree
be
with
a
this
eager
statement.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people will disagree with this statement, and that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is this: that normally, what happens is when we look at something, when I look at a competent person performing the work very competently, the, I the first thought comes to my mind is self-doubt. Will I be able to do it? So
Yes.
if I look at a yoga practitioners who is so competent, let's say for example I look at Ramadev Baba, the kind of things he can do with his body. When I look at my prospect of doing it, there's a massive self-doubt,
Yes. Yes. That
right?
is why I'm
So
interrupting here. That
that
is why I'm telling you.
self-doubt,
Yeah. Yeah. I
that
just wanted to tell
self-doubt
you
will make
that
me
it is one
believe,
on one.
yeah.
That is the
So
reason why I told you in the beginning itself it's one on one. Yeah.
sure.
Please go on.
So that self-doubt makes me believe that this prospect of me doing it is very difficult, almost impossible. I don't see myself doing it. So when you have this mindset, everything you consider is difficult for you. So I basically, in my book, I keep challenging the thought processes, people have. So if it was so difficult and impossible for a lay person like you and me, so what these millions of rishis for thousands of years have been toiling their guts out to tell us how it is, what it is, and how do you do it. So all these gamut of, I call them spiritual scientists who are studying the inner life. So are these people wasting their time telling us something which cannot be done? So from that perspective, if it has been recommended self-realization, it means it is possible and can be achieved.
Mm.
So problem for it's not the self-realization which is difficult. It is
Yes.
decision to take the path is difficult.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Decision to take the path is difficult. So what could be so difficult to get to know about yourself?
Yes.
Knowing yourself, why would it be so difficult? So obviously, it's not a lecture session. It's just a live session to
Yeah.
introduce the themes and the ideas of the book.
Yes. Yes.
So that is
Go.
on those bases. And what people don't realize is that they have achieved so many complex things in their life, so many complicated things they have learned,
Mm.
which are otherwise very complex and difficult. They're far greater and far more difficult than self-realization. They have already done those kind of things. They made so many achievements in life. So ask the question, how did you do it? People learn how to fly plane.
Yes. Yes.
People learn how to drive a car. Is that a
Exactly.
simple thing? No, it is
No.
not. It is very, very complicated skills.
Yes.
So from that point of view, I'm saying it's just another area of a skill. If you put to your mind and if you commit yourself to it, Like any skill that you can learn the skills involved into self-realization.
Yes.
What skills are involved? The simple skill, fundamental skill that people need for self-realization is controlling and training their mind.
Mind.
That's it.
Yes.
Mind
That's simple.
training and mind control is the only fundamental skill which is needed and required. So all our religious activities that we do, whether it is a puja, satsang, bhajan, kirtan, jap, and visits to temple, tirth yatra, all these activities are essentially designed to provide that supple environment for your mind to revel into.
Yeah.
So that mind becomes conditioned to think about spiritual thoughts and spiritual ideas. So basically, it is not raveling into the entire world and thinking about a whole lot of negative things,
Right.
negative
Right.
ideas. So you provide through Bhairanga sadhanas, okay, which you just talked about. So these Bhairanga sadhanas are basically recommendations or prescriptions for providing that conducive environment for training your mind.
Training your mind.
Training
That
your mind.
now a
Once,
person can get through,
huh,
get insight,
so
understand.
once you gain that little focus and concentration of your mind, that skill and ability is required for you to contemplate over yourself,
Yes.
upon yourself, because that's why it is called self, supreme self. Brahma
Yes.
is supreme self.
Supreme.
Supreme self meaning what? Your absolute version. My
Yo.
own absolute version that I need to know so that I can dismantle this perceived idea, the notion that I have created about myself, and I'm suffering through. So, this notion and idea that I have about myself as to who I think I am, this is a transition from knowing your real version, the
Yes.
pure,
Exactly.
supreme, the absolute version of my own self. So I am not talking about a God who is sitting up in the clouds and throwing in people in the on the earth, you know, unintelligently. No, it's not. We're not talking about that. So idea. So this is again a myth in my view. A lot of people have this nostalgic idea of what God is and what's happening. So we need to really start getting ourselves involved into it, start exploring, start finding out, and ask the questions. So self-realization means that you will become far more in self-control and you will start to control your destiny. You can be able to achieve anything that you pick up, any commitment that you take, you will do the best job out of it. That is the
Yes.
kind of capabilities that, spiritual practice can give you. And you can achieve massive success, financial or otherwise, without getting stressed or worried or frightened. So you're not going to get, all you're going to get is the same thing that you're chasing after in your material life,
Exactly.
but without the fear, anxieties, and worries, and having a peaceful life and enjoying life to its fullest. That is the idea. So doing whatever people do, if it is serving that purpose, God bless you. But I don't think that is the case. So that's why I think it is simple and easy. People need to read the book and
Yeah.
try to get the idea what I'm trying to communicate through my book.
Communicate to a
Yeah, yeah,
common man like me.
yes.
Sometimes,
So I've used the language
mm,
that way. It's only I think chapter second of the book, which is I
mm,
am quoting 16, 17 verses of Gita chapter 2,
yeah.
where I have mentioned, because I try to stay away from using shlokas and stuff, because
Yes,
my
yes.
audience is the young people, and if I using that language, I will be making them run away from me.
Even I do
They think,
not
oh
take
shit,
those kind of.
so I
I
can't speak
remain silent.
Sanskrit, I can't do this, so it is not for me. So I try to stay away from using conventional language that
Language.
is
Yeah.
used in Quran and all that stuff, and I use conventional language which young people understand. So
Yes.
I've written in a very common language.
I think you
Thank you.
have already. I think you have already uh, given the highlights of what my questions were,
Right.
and you have already talked about Bahiranga Sadhana, and
Yes, yes, we have.
yes, there is one thing which now I just want to uh, like you to answer is you mentioned about a couple of examples, practical applications of spiritual tools and techniques in your book.
Yeah.
You can just
So
share your
yes, I think I have shared one
listeners.
example of this little girl. Uh,
You have already given
yeah,
one
that
example of
example I've already
that's
shared.
fine.
So after that experience, then I worked with the entire 12th class in a rural village school, and all those 33 girls who were in 11th class, they were uh, in the bracket of 40 to 60, that kind of a performance. So I worked with them over 3 month period and used some of these thoughts and ideas contained in our scriptures, and some of these techniques I used with them. So outcome of that was that 100% girls improved their grades. 100%.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
100% girls. It's not that
So
some
nice.
did and some didn't. All of them improved their grades, and the average improvement by 12%. A
Oh,
girl
wonderful.
who had 49% in 11th class, she ended up getting 74.
74. Okay, 25%.
So
So I
see,
should recommend
people should not
my
get the wrong idea. The idea of spirituality is to score good marks in exams. No, that is not. Idea is to dispelling this myth in your mind, this thought and the idea with lot of people entertain that I can't do this, I can't achieve this, this is for somebody else. I can't sit for IS exams. Why? Because I've got 70%. So this negative ideas or impressions that people have gained out of their experiences, and they assumed it to be their reality, that is what I'm trying to dispel. So young girl believe that she can't score. So I'm dispelling this negative thought in her mind that there is nothing you cannot do. So
yes.
I'm installing this thought in her mind that there is nothing you cannot do. So once this thought is there in her mind, now until I recently met her last year or last week, she told me that only in 10th final exam she got 82, but from 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th she was into high 90s.
90s.
So
Okay.
once you have helped young people to change their perspective, and and obviously on one-to-one basis, I'm working with a lot of young people. I do my own spiritual counseling sessions, which I share some of these thoughts and ideas with young people, especially young parents as well. Young parents is also my interest area, because I want to work with parents because they have the key role play. They have a key role to play in young people's lives. So these are various experiences and examples. I've got all my personal life.
Wonderful.
The confidence that I gained, it made me to retire myself at the age of 50. I was running a very successful business here in
Okay.
UK.
Okay.
So once you have realization and self-confidence that you build, then you don't have to keep working till you die dead.
No, no, that's what even in my case also.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm happy
So,
what
so these are some of those
I'm now. Yeah.
examples. Yeah.
Mm,
Otherwise, there's an end to it.
mm.
So,
So,
thank you. I think both of us have shared
yeah.
some
See,
insights
something
into both
I
books.
just want to put a word here, like, I
Yeah,
put a sentence here. When I, in my classes, also I tell people, when you can manifest the negative current,
yeah.
why can't you manifest the positive current? It's
That's right.
either you have to be neutral or positive or the negative one, right?
Yeah,
Someone who can definitely think about I can't do this, I can't do that. You know, why
yeah,
can't you just bring it to your knowledge, bring it to
yeah,
yourself, tell yourself that I can do this. When this is
yeah,
been manifested every day,
yeah.
the things will definitely uh,
What?
be a nice thing to happen in their life. And I would recommend my audience also to buy this book, which I'm again going to show it to
Yeah.
my audience. Those who have joined late,
Yeah. And
Hinduism, the
Sudesh, can
science of
you on my behalf,
self-realization.
can you show your book as well? Because I want to request people who are keen into exploring
Yeah, it's available in
therapeutic
the French
approaches
also
to
in
yoga.
in 13 countries. This is available.
Yeah.
Therapeutic approach to
Yeah.
yoga. Therapeutic approach to yoga,
So people
and
can go and buy it. And both these books are available on Amazon.
Amazon.
So people
Yes,
can,
only on
on,
Amazon.
on.
Yeah, yeah. The black and white version is around 5.99 or 4.99, like the 5.99 probably. Uh,
So Sudesh, can
then
you check with your assistants
your
if
book
there's any
is
questions people have posted?
yes. Just to ask a last question.
Okay,
What
sure.
is your forthcoming work? You have to tell me. Uh,
Forthcoming books, like for example, this is a science.
yeah.
So I am discussing and exploring theoretical concepts and ideas which are contained within our scriptures. The next book is very, very similar. So next book hopefully is going to be two sets, a set of two books, and that is going to be called the Technology for Joyous Living.
Yeah,
So
technological for
technology for joyous living.
of
So lot of
joyous.
technology that is available. How do you apply to make your life joyful and successful? So that is
So
going to be split into two parts. So
let me
first
wait
we'll
for your book to
talk about
come.
the background and the theoretical aspect of the technology and why it is designed, what is the purpose of it, and then how do you use it would be the second part of the book.
Okay.
And once this book is two books are, I don't know whether a publisher are going to make it two books or one book. I don't know. I have to wait. So that hopefully November, December it will come out. And
Yeah.
after that, there is another manuscript ready where I am commenting on Hanuman Chalisa.
Hanuman Chalisa. Okay.
Hanuman Chalisa with a particular interest because the mind has a very crucial role to perform in self-realization for people to make their life. So mind is something that people need to start working on, in my view, and gain some degree of control. And Hanuman Chalisa, which everybody carries in their pocket, we read it like a parrot, but we don't understand what it means. So I'm trying to get the essence out of these 40 chopais, the
So
couplets,
so we all
shlokas, and I'm giving psychological, philosophical, and Hanuman as a mind interpretation of each and every chopai in that book. So hopefully we'll have to keep our fingers crossed. Maybe sometime March,
so
April next year it will come out.
let's wait for the book to come.
Yeah, thank you.
And
What about you? Have you got any
yeah,
plans?
yeah. This therapeutic approach to yoga has been covered only with 7 ailments now, and
Right.
7 more ailments are going to come now in the second volume. It is already done with the same indie press. Those have gotten given an opportunity for us to be like this today, one-on-one interaction. So we should, wish it's going to be published in another few days or few weeks before I could travel outside. I need to see that it will be published very soon,
Right.
and the same publisher is going to publish my book. Second volume is shortly coming with 7 more ailments, and in this book we have covered 7 ailments. Uh, Dealing with stress, thyroid, acidity, gastritis, diabetes, lumbar issues, arthritis, varicose veins. So these are the seven, and 7 more are to come in the second volume. So I'm dealing with Bahiranga Sadhana. You're dealing with Antaranga Sadhana.
Antaranga sadhana. So I
So
think
we
both
are,
of our work is complementary actually.
yes, it's a complementary work. So
Yeah.
we keep in touch,
Yeah,
and
we definitely do.
so
And I think, can you
yeah.
ask to somebody in your
Yes,
place
any
to
of
check if
my
there's any questions
audience
people
want
have
to,
asked?
yes, anybody in my audience want to ask a question to Mr. Srivatsava,
Yeah.
please
Uh,
ask him a question. We will wait for
there is one
10 minutes.
person, Kanwar Rawat,
हाँ,
and his क्वेश्चन है ये जो आप सर लाइव आए हैं क्या सिर्फ अंग्रेजों के लिए आए हैं या बेचारे गरीब हिंदुस्तानी जो हिंदी अरे सॉरी कंवर साहब बिकॉज आपका क्वेश्चन बड़ा जायज है ऐसी बात नहीं है एंड वी कैन डू हम लोग हिंदी में भी कर सकते हैं बिकॉज बोथ ऑफ अस हैव ए डिफरेंट लैंग्वेज मदर टंग मेरी मदर टंग हिंदी जरूर है बट आई डोंट नो अबाउट सुदेश सुदेश योर मदर टंग इज व्हाट तमिल
Tulu, I
है
am from
और
Udupi.
you're from
I can speak
उडुपी
Kannada very well, not
yeah, yeah.
but not the Hindi. But because
तो इसलिए
I am
कंवर साहब जो
in
सुदेश
English.
जी है वो हिंदी में उनकी इतनी अच्छी नहीं है आपका सवाल सही है थैंक यू फॉर रेजिंग दैट क्वेश्चन तो हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे नेक्स्ट टाइम इफ आई एम डूइंग माई लाइव ऑन इंस्टाग्राम तब मैं किसी दूसरे को अपने साथ बैठा के हिंदी में आपके लिए बात करेंगे थैंक यू एनी
Any other questions? Uh, my audience have to Anupam Srivatsava. Please ask. As we are happy to announce that both the books are going to be in Germany, Frankfurt book fair. So we should thank Indie Press for that and organizing this event for us on their behalf.
yeah.
So, any questions from your audience, sir? Maybe
हाँ क्या,
then
अगर
definitely
इफ
no
एनीबडी हैज
issues.
क्वेश्चन, कंवर साहब, अगर आपके पास सब्जेक्ट के लिए कोई क्वेश्चन हो या मेरे से ऑडियंसेस हैं, अगर आपके मन में कोई प्रश्न है थेराप्यूटिक अप्रोच को लेकर, तो प्लीज अपना क्वेश्चन पूछिए. वी हैव गॉट अनदर आई शुड से 6 minutes or 4 6 minutes till 45, 11 past 45, and then I think we'll have to end it, otherwise the session will be very long.
Long, yes, yes.
So if you have किसी आपके सवाल पे, अगर आपके पास किसी का क्वेश्चन है, प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन, राइट योर क्वेश्चन, एंड सुदेश जी विल ट्राई टू आंसर इट. So far you have got so I think there's only cover. Rawat had a question with
That's okay.
the
We,
language of the
yeah, yeah.
conversation, and that we'll have to take care next time.
Uh,
I think it is for me basically because I speak Hindi, so we can do it. So if that is the case, if nobody has any questions, there is a Himanshi Pradhan says it will be quite interesting to read about therapeutic approach to yoga,
yes, I
especially
should.
that the author written with
I like
respect
to
to
answer
ailment.
Himanshi. So Himanshi Pradhan.
Yeah.
It'll be quite interesting to read about therapeutic approach to yoga, especially the Dhat written with respect to ailments. I'm reading the other book too. Thank you. Thank you very much, Himanshi ji.
Thank you,
Uh,
Himanshi.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Himanshi is my colleague on one of the programs that we run, and she's
okay,
also reading
okay.
this book. So I know her.
Yeah,
She's
yeah, yeah.
reading this. She's very, very, very much into therapeutic
Okay.
dimension of life.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Himanshi.
Thank
So
you
if
very much.
that is the
And
case, Sudesh, should we call it a day?
yes, yes, we can
So,
just thank our
uh,
audience, your
so,
audience. Without
thank
them,
you,
I don't think so.
everybody, our both our audiences. And
Yes,
Sudesh, can I request you before you terminate it? Can you make sure that it is recorded or saved somehow?
it
Waiting
is
to read both
safe. It
your
is safe. It is
Ayush and
safe.
Julia. Very
Very
informative
important that
talk, new
you
insights.
said,
We don't know. So people are writing comments
thank
rather
you.
than
And
questions.
just,
Which is thank you for your comments.
and just, Ilya, thank you very much. And many of them are waiting to read both of your very relevant books.
Thank
Asha,
you.
Ashpiro, thank you. Anjus, very informative talk, new insight given on both the subjects. Thank you very much, Anjus. And hope this will help you in understanding two subjects in one platform. And one more, thank you so much, both of you, Suma, Raju. Okay, thank you, Suma.
Okay. Thank you,
It is
Suresh.
nice to
It was
hear.
a nice conversation with you. Hope to see
Yes,
you
I
again in
should.
the similar
Thank
programs.
you, both of you. It was very informative. This girl is
Thank you.
doing her
Great.
teacher's training course. Wonderful. Yeah, that's good. And we should thank Anil Gar. Thanks for both of your words of wisdom and thoughts on the subject. Thank you very much. So your support will continue like this, and hope without your support, we wouldn't have been answering these questions elaborately. Hope we have
Yeah.
taken more of the much of the time of yours, and patiently you have listened to us. Thank you very much for both
Thank
the audiences. Namaste.
Thank you. And I would like to actually just give a make a mention of Indie Press, which
Yeah,
has
I
very
mentioned.
kindly organized this Insta Live show for us.
Mm.
And Indie Press is the publisher for both our books.
Yeah.
So a great thank you goes to Indie Press as well. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank
Thank you very
you.
much.
Thank you,
Namaste.
Preeti. Namaskar.